Thank you for your attention. Ladies and gentlemen, the Mercedes-Benz Future Truck 2025. As a moderator of a car magazine, I'm glad to be here to see this historical day. And this is the new person. He's not only a driver, he's a transport manager, from a trucker to the highway pilot. So let me welcome him. Hans, an experienced truck driver. He's in the cab, and I'm waiting to hear what he will tell us about this drive. Hans, let's start. Let's go. This view from the cab will never change, but everything else in the cab will change dramatically, I promise you. In the next 30 minutes, that will be exciting for you, because we will drive on a real highway with realistic maneuvers. The future truck will handle these scenarios autonomously, and you will see how easy it is for this truck to realize that. The future for trucks and why it works that perfectly will be explained by someone who is an expert. He is the head of development at Daimler Trucks. He knows all the details in the technology. That's Sven Ennerst.
Hallo, Herr Stecker. Hallo, Herr Ennerst.
Hello, Mr. Stecker. Okay, nice to have you with us. The assist systems, partly autonomous driving, we know this. Simple things such as rain sensor, light sensor, cruise control, this has been around for some time. Yes, we have many of these functions. The passenger cars know this already. But for trucks, there are many more assist systems that make life easier for the driver, for the truck driver, and in general make traffic more safe. For example, proximity control, brake assist, the lane keeping assist. These are systems where Daimler has been a pioneer. The next step, therefore, would have to be the autonomy assist function. In a certain way, yes, an autonomy assist in this form cannot exist, because autonomous driving is a combination of many assist systems and safety systems. We managed for the first time to combine the technologies in such a way that we have an enormously intelligent system called the highway pilot. In this kind, it's been an unprecedented function. How much Mercedes-Benz passenger know-how is in this future truck? A lot. We're in the comfortable situation that we have the expertise from passenger cars. The best technical details from passenger cars could be taken over. I mean, which truck manufacturer has that privilege? I couldn't think of one. The highway pilot told the trucker that it is available. That means the driver can lean back and relax, but how can the truck tell that it can use the system? Well, the system has a three-dimensional map with detailed topographical data. It tells the driver where he is. In this moment, it's on the highway. That's why the highway pilot is offered. It looks behind the curves and sees whether there is downhill or uphill stretch, so it's predictive. It tells the driver whether he should apply the brake. and can do many things more. How can the truck see what is happening around it? Cameras, I guess. Yes, many sensors, radar sensors, cameras also. You see that here. And down at the vehicle, there's a front radar sensor in blue and a near-range sensor. As the names say, they cover the range in front of the truck. The far range measures 280, 250 meters with an 80-degree angle, and the near range sensor covers 70 meters at 130 degrees. In green, you see the stereo camera. Behind the windshield, it's actually the eyes of the vehicle. And on the right and left, in front of the rear axle, there are more radar sensors covering the left and the right of the vehicle. And the result is, quite simply, the truck can see everything with a view angle that is 20 degrees bigger than that of the human eye. Okay, here we see flowing traffic on the highway, and what I think is best with the autonomous truck is that you cannot see all the cameras and sensors. It's not as with a Google car where you see all kinds of sensors. No, you see nothing. It's as in series production. Very well hidden. Now let's see. The normal traffic situation can be seen here. This is flowing traffic, but here comes the first new order. How is this processed? Very simply, scheduling sent the order to the truck. At the same time, the navigation app from the data cloud starts. It calculates quickly the most efficient route to the destination. The driver can take care of the order because he has nothing to do with the driving. That's correct, because the truck has got the highway pilot mode, and this is happening independently. So in this mode, the driver's seat can be rotated by 45 degrees, moving away from the driving position into a working position that can be compared to an office environment. The driver can take care of the order that came in, and as we could see, the cockpit gives him more leeway, more flexibility, so it's easy to relax. But he cannot sleep there, right? He has to do that in the rest area. For truckers, it's difficult to find this gap, and that's a lot of stress. In the future, that will be easier. In the future, he will have more time to take care of the planning of the rest. The truck sends a reservation request to the rest area, and then the system, if there is a free space, will send the confirmation of such a reservation. The coordinates that are necessary will be integrated into the navigation system, and then he will automatically guide it there. He can even order food in advance. As you can see, a lot is going on the new highway. The first police car is arriving. Something's happening, but the future truck knows that already. Yes, of course. For long, the vehicles are all linked up in a network. How does this work? This V2V in this situation. Police car sends the information that it's a service vehicle with special rights. We heard the horn. The system understands the message, calculates the reaction, and responds accordingly. That means the vehicle evades to the right, providing more space for the rescue vehicle. We're still in the office mode. Hans is still in the office mode. Well, I wouldn't call it an office mode, but he's in a relaxed mode, and he doesn't have the feet at the brake even. In future situations, will the driver be more relaxed? Yes, since the trucks are linked up, or trucks and passenger cars are also linked up. That means the entire infrastructure will be used more efficiently, so the driver will be more relaxed. Let's see what's happening. In front of all the other trucks, The future truck, no, before all the others react, the autonomous truck evades to the right. Yes, it's the first one, because it's linked up with the other systems, and those drivers without autonomous driving, they are later respond to that rescue vehicle. Now let us take a look again at this film. We see that the other vehicles are driving normally, and the future truck moves over already. It's the first one to move over. And after the rescue vehicle has passed, it moves back again. The truck responds autonomously without the driver having to get involved. So it's less stress for everybody, especially for the driver. Talking about V2V, how's the communication organized? First, it has to be standardized. The vehicles have to communicate with one another. They have to understand the signals that the others send. Our vehicle has to send signals that others can understand. Corporate awareness messages are sent out, and these messages include the vehicle type, the vehicle dimensions, the position of the vehicle, the driving direction, and the speed. And especially important, whether the vehicle is in an acceleration or in a deceleration mode. We have to say that this vehicle-to-vehicle is actually something in addition. Everything else exists. Thanks to your colleagues, we have internet in passenger cars and so on. So that's an increase of what we already have. Exactly. Everything is fully automatic, right? Correct, in a staggered approach. One of the messages, several messages per second, 10 messages per second can be transmitted. For example, when there is a traffic jam, a sudden traffic jam, I mean, we can talk a lot about infrastructure. Traffic jams will always exist. And behind a curve, that's very critical, of course. On a highway, we all know that. But the future truck will not be taken by surprise with that. Definitely not. It's prepared. The information exchange among the vehicles ensures that the truck and the driver are informed about what's happening. Here you see the vehicle. It simulates a vehicle breakdown. The next situation that can come up, the vehicle breakdown means that the following traffic has to slow down. It's getting sluggish traffic, probably even a traffic jam. In general, we have systems in use providing excellent services to avoid rear-end collisions. And this will continue to be the case, but the permanent exchange of data between vehicles in combination with the multi-sensors of the vehicle should ensure that the critical situations will no longer come up in the future. In the future truck, the braking will occur very early. So that is a victory for all drivers. Now, vehicle breakdown ahead, and the vehicle evades. Here, an oil spill is simulated, and that's also possible. Stop and go cannot be avoided. This will continue to come up in the future, but that will be more acceptable. And today already, the heavy-duty trucks can be ordered with a stop-and-go assist function that facilitates life. Together with the other assist systems and the linked-up sensors, we will have an autonomous system in the future that allows the driver in stop and go to sit in the working position, the tilted position, to take care of other work. He doesn't have to bother about the traffic jam. He can write SMS, go into Skype. Now let's see what the truck does in the traffic jam. The police car is gone. Here we see the truck lowers its speed, so it responds. There is sort of an end of the traffic jam. everything happens fully automatically. Now it's adapting, it's preparing to evade this obstacle, and this time it has to go to the middle of the lane without being a problem for the other vehicles. Now I think the driver would have to respond to this traffic jam. He would have to, yes, but here nothing happens. The driver is still sitting in his working position, the truck, without having to grab the steering wheel, because the vehicle is going to the left border of the lane, slowed down, went to the line, passes the obstacle, and then comes back into the original position of the right lane. Okay, perfect job, and we can take a look at that once again. It's even more impressive when we take a look at it in slow motion. All the communication media are used, Skype, everything is involved. The vehicle passes the obstacle at the right speed, in the right way, and basically the system works better than a human being could control that.
The truck knows the position and the size of the broken-down vehicle because it has scanned it previously. The truck knows it for quite a while because it has signaled to him. It knows the size and position of the broken-down vehicle, but it also evaluates all of the data from the sensors that are scanned, and that uses that to calculate the maneuver and executes the maneuver. Just pass by the broken-down vehicle, and that's it. Great. How can the truck differentiate between lane and hard shoulder, emergency lane? It has lateral sensors, and which allow him to assess the lanes. To me, it sounds like the driver only needs to go into the cab, lay back, and let the highway pilot do the work. For our truck, that is feasible, but the environment and the infrastructure is not ready for it. That's why we're not ready to parameterize overtaking operations or exiting or on-ramping, because it's also not allowed in Germany legally. I think vehicles can do it, passenger cars prove it, but let's see what the future has